So in today's session, what I'm going to be going over for everybody here is a deep dive on what exactly the real estate cheat code is. And what we're going to be talking about in today's webinar is essentially something that I don't see anybody else doing. Now, I'm going to be 100 with you guys. When I first got into the business and investing in real estate, this was like in 2014, moving into 2015. I just got out of jail. I was trying to figure out how I was going to make this crazy thing work. And to me, I didn't want to go back to doing what I was doing before, which was selling weed, and I was really good at it. I had a lot of really great friends. People think that there's like these drug dealers that like people shooting, killing each other. I wasn't like that at all, man. I had great friends that were doing the business, and we just sold weed to chill people. We didn't sell to like drug dealers or cartel members or any of that. And so I did that for a very long time. And when I finally got out of that, I didn't want to go back to it. I learned about wholesaling real estate a year and a half into my journey of learning what this business was, right? So I went into a seminar, and like most of you guys that are in this class today, sitting in front of some guy that was literally talking hieroglyphics. And he was trying to teach me how to use my credit that I didn't have and the $5,000 to $10,000 that I also didn't have to somehow buy rental properties and make $200 a month per house and then get 10 or 15 of them so that they build in value over time and they pay off some of my bills. It just seems so slow. Like, how do you do this business with no money, no credit, no nothing, right? That's when I learned about wholesaling. For a whole year and a half, I sat at the back of this seminar because I really wanted to learn. They taught the BRRRR method. For you guys that don't know what BRRRR is, you can write this down. It's buy, rehab, rent, refinance, repeat. You can go into ChatGPT and Google what that is, and it'll also create a playlist of YouTube videos. So you can go down the rabbit hole of what that looks like. If you got good credit, you just inherited a bunch of money, or you have solid income, or even just any type of leverage, you're military, active military, ex-military, and you have these loans like your VA loan, or you're already pre-approved for like an FHA loan or conventional loan, you can buy real estate right now with less than $5,000 out of pocket, own a whole house, leverage that property and rent it and make passive income. Now I've been able to do that with no money, with no credit, and I own 44 of those, including the one that I'm living in right now. When I first bought this house, it was worth a little over 278 grand, and now it's worth almost 560, 570. Last I checked the appraisal. A lot of my rental properties I bought in 2017 have grown in value. The BRRRR method, as great as a method as it can be, there are a lot of ways to make money in real estate outside of that, right? So I had to figure out what was going to work for me. The guy walks up to me at the seminar and he said, "Hey, Q, you've been here for a whole year and a half. Why haven't you bought your first real estate property yet?" Bro, I said, "Dude, what do you want me to do, man? I have 2 ounces in my truck and $500 in my pocket. That's all I got. Like, I don't know if they accept weed for houses, but that's all I have." And he was like, "No, Q, you really don't need money." I said, "What are you talking about, man? That just sounds like some fugazi. It's a woozy, it's a wazi. It just sounds like it doesn't exist, right?" And so for me, I said, "You're kidding me." Because I've been sitting here in front of these guys paying $500 every other weekend to sit here and try to figure out what the heck they're trying to teach me. And I didn't know any of that stuff. And so this is what's crazy, guys. This is what's crazy. He said, you don't need any money and you don't need any credit. You just have to get good at finding houses. If you find a house, it's called bird dogging. You just sell it to an investor. I said, what? That's insane. And so I really wanted to learn how to do this. Now, I'm going to tell you guys right now, and I don't care if like, I know that I have some people that are here that are older than me, but I feel old having been in business. I got grays popping out the top of my head. You see this one little dot right here? This little thing that's on the top of my head? Guys, that's my one single gray hair, and it's there. And I'm just like really trying to get it out at this point. But oh my God, I got it. That's my gray. So I knew for a fact that I really wanted to do real estate. I learned about wholesaling. And within just a few months, I closed my first real estate deal and I made $2,100. Now, at this point, during this time frame, my age showing, there was no videos on YouTube on how to make $1 million wholesaling. It was not populated the way that it is now, where you can just kind of jump on it and say how to flip houses without using any of my own money. Back then, if you got on YouTube, there was just really just a bunch of funny videos, and that was a place where you kind of listen to music without having to buy a CD or album, but nowadays it's just a lot different, right? And so again, as I started progressing through my journey, I realized how hard it was to find a house. And so like most of you guys, you're wanting to learn how to find real estate. You want to learn how to find deals that nobody else is talking to, deals that nobody else is touching. You want to find them before anybody else, right? So, like in this journey of figuring it out, I walked into a company. It was a local RIA that was happening here in San Antonio, Texas. And I was so excited. I bought my suit from Goodwill. I'd made 2,100 bucks. I felt like a badass. I was ready to go in there. I was ready to show people that I've met business, like I was going to be the guy on that stage one day. That was my mindset walking into that building. And so when I walked in, I met a dude that was the owner of the RIA, who's also a local real estate attorney. Okay. And I just remember I was so blown away by his presentation. I just felt like me and him had so much in common. You know what I'm saying? And so I walked up to shake his hand, and he told me, he said, "Hey, man, I respect you and everything, but let me give you some advice." He said, "You're not going to get far if you're wearing suits that don't fit you and you're showing your tattoos that you have, because I have tattoos pretty much all over my body. And if you have these giant holes in your ears, at the time, these holes were about that big, not this big. And he said, if you really want to work with me, I need to be able to take you seriously. And I just don't feel like you look like you're taking this seriously." Man, I can't tell you how badly that just destroyed my confidence that I had. And I just realized that that was the type of mentor that I never wanted to be. And so, like, I was still very wanting to figure it out. I was willing to take his hint. I put these smaller ones in so that it would look better. I decided I'd buy a better suit. I walked into this place called Penner's. It's a 100-year-old business here in San Antonio, and I bought a real suit. And I remember I walked back in to his office, not to the not to the RIA. The RIA is called SRIA, San Antonio Real Estate Investor Association. And I walked into his office and I said, "I came here to work for Victor." That was the guy's name, you know? And so I was just really excited to tell the guy that I was willing to do whatever it took. He made me sit outside of his office for like a whole week. Then finally he gave me the opportunity. Now, I would tell you guys that one of the books that influenced this decision is called Think and Grow Rich. And it's about a gentleman who burned all of his bridges so that he could go and work for Thomas Edison. And Thomas Edison didn't know him. Now, it's funny because his affirmation wasn't to Thomas Edison that I was going to work for you. It was that Thomas Edison's going to be my associate, that we are going to be business partners. This is called an irrefutable truth. Another thing that people call this is definitive purpose, right? Definitive purpose is one of the best ways to get where it is that you want to go, because it's like nobody can tell you anything. And so for me, I just wanted so badly to figure out how to do something in this business. When I started working for this attorney, this attorney had me doing everything manually. And so, I had learned something from him that I would say, no offense to my people in here that are older, was an outdated strategy, because what he was making me do was something that was very tedious and it would have taken time. And so I know that this is probably off topic, but this is where the cleverness of Q comes into place. Now, I've always known that I was going to be a community builder and a leader. When I was younger, in my early high school days, I used to play a video game called Diablo. I even have it tattooed on my back. And so Diablo is a much kind of like a knockoff to an old school card game called Magic the Gathering. And so essentially, what you do is you run raids with people. You band up with a group of individuals and you go through these things called dungeons. And there's a dungeon leader, there's a tank, there's a healer, there's support, there's damage per second. There's all these different numbers that are variables, right? I would be the one leading. I would man the pact. There was about 400 people in my community back then. Again, this is a video game. It's not like a real estate thing. If you notice, there's a lot of similarities. And we would get to the point where we would kill Diablo. Now, back then, if I wanted to kill Diablo, let's say that this was Diablo, whatever Diablo dropped was shared amongst all 8 of us. So you wanted to be as close to Diablo as humanly possible if you wanted to kill him and then take whatever loot he dropped. There wasn't a shared loot system yet like there is now in today's video games. And again, my nerd is showing, but I have to give you guys the analogy here. I had a friend of mine, his name was Derek. He went by Silent Decoder. And Derek had told me that we could hack the server if we could create a bot, and this bot would automate this process where it would send like 100,000 IP address signals to one IP address. And what happens is it slows down your internet and then shuts you off and disconnects you from the game. And so we would get all the way to the end, right before Diablo was about to die, we'd kick everybody off, and then it would just be me and my friend Derek delivering the final blow and taking the loot. Now, this loot I would go on the internet and sell for like $500 to $1,000. That was my hustle when I was 17, 16 years old. That's when I learned how to code. And so, I looked at this process that Victor was teaching me, who was my original mentor. I'm not happy to say that. And Victor had really taught me something that could have been automated, and he didn't know how to do it. And to me, I'm like, wow, like he's having all of these schmucks that come and pay for this RIA, no offense. And these people would come in and they would do the process that he would teach them, and they would bring him all of the deals and they'd close them together. I understood the assignment at this point. But what I realize is that when you train 100 people how to do it, it's kind of like you're giving it away. Now, again, this same process, this thing that I'm going to teach you guys today, it goes beyond this. It goes beyond what I'm mentioning to you. And so this is what's really cool. Now, I'm going to show you guys on this whiteboard here 3 different ways to pull records that literally nobody can do at scale. And because of this, most people are limited to what's on page 1, page 2, and page 3. And I know that sounds like a lot to say, but I'm going to kind of be real with you guys real fast, is that if you're going to do this, you're going to do it manually, you're not going to be able to reap the benefits of this strategy. Okay? If you do this manually, it's going to take you forever. Now, when I say forever, I'll say 6 months to get one list. But we're going to consolidate that. And I'm going to show you guys some really cool things that I've been working on here. Today's meeting is the concept and what this looks like. And then I'm going to show you guys a demo of how it looks like on my computer. And then the next call, I'm going to show y'all how to build that too. Okay, so that's going to be next Tuesday. Now, with that being said, without further ado, I'm going to break this down. Again, guys, I want y'all to understand something. I own a data company, so I want to be 100 with you guys. The data that you guys buy, I have no control of this, but it gets resold to other people. There, I said it. It's truth. It's confirmed. So if you go to PropStream, if you go to Batch Leads, you go to any of these companies, you're buying data that's being resold to you. That's just how it works. And on top of that, it's inaccurate. The reason why is because you're looking at 800 million records throughout the entire United States. It's impossible for one software system, I don't care who the coder is or who the individual that developed that software is, it's impossible to update those records every single day. So if you have ever downloaded a list from PropStream that was going into foreclosure and you called them, I promise you right now that that list is so outdated. They're probably not even in foreclosure anymore, or they just sold the property or already lost it. And so there's no point, right? So I'm paying $97 a month, $1,200 a year. So I have this software that's not working for me, right? And so guys, I fell into that trap too. That's called the subscription trap. So I'm going to show you guys how to build something that's real cool, but this is the premise of it. In every single county, no matter where it is that you are, you have 3 different portals, and we're going to combine these 2, okay? These 3. And this is what it looks like. The first portal is called the clerk. How many of you guys know what the clerk system is? Drop a 1 in the comments if you know what this is. The county clerk is a place where people file records against properties, documents. So when somebody passes away and they leave behind their last will and testament, this is where you can see it. Now in the clerk system, the clerk system, you can see liens, you can see judgments, right? You can see probate deals like probate wills that are being probated. You can see child support that's been unpaid. You can see when somebody's in an active lawsuit, like a list pendant, and it's tied to a piece of real estate. There's about 35 different documents that you can find in the county clerk system. One by one, liens are debt that's attached to a property. Judgments is a lawsuit where somebody was in default and they didn't show up or they lost in court, and a default judgment gets put against their property. Probate is essentially where somebody dies and his estate is being processed. And so when people die, most people die, they have a last will and testament. And their last will and testament is what needs to be done on their day of death. That needs to get taken through a court system. Leaving behind a will means jack diddly squat, y'all. If a will doesn't get probated, it doesn't mean shit. So make sure that when you die, because it happens to everybody, sorry, that you also have the money set aside so that your heirs can pay for the probate process. Okay. And so that's a minimum 3 grand. Just put it in an account and never touch it. And then make sure that your will is extensive and that it survives you in the conditions. A lot of people, they put wills against people that are like barely even friends or relatives. Be 100% on who you decide to be the executrix that passes along your estate. Child support, something that everybody has to pay when they're a parent. And if they put themselves on child support, that's one. If they're in a bad relationship with their baby mom or their baby dad, then they get put on child support as well. A list pendant is typically a active lawsuit that is going on regarding a piece of property. These are different types of lists that you can pull from the county clerk system. Okay. So I love this because you can just go in and run through them, and you can do them one by one if you really want to. But this is also where you can find pre-foreclosure leads. And those pre-foreclosure lists are also very, very valuable to grab, okay? Because it's organic. These are properties that are going into foreclosure. Now, typically, guys, this system is on an online portal somewhere. If it's not on an online portal, you have to sign up for an account, sometimes pay a monthly subscription, and you get access to leads like this. These are records that are fresh, valuable in your county right now. Guys, I used to sell a lot of weed, and I hate to say this, but if I were to buy weed from my friend here, Calais, she would not sell it to me if she wasn't going to make money. That's just the reality, right? Like, you have to make a profit. If I wanted to buy weed from my guy Anil here, same process. You ain't going to sell it to me without making money, bro. You got to make money. I got to make money too. I'm going to take what you sell me and I'm going to sell it for more, right? So then if I wanted to get the best deal for marijuana, where would I get it? I would get it from somebody who is growing it from the ground. Consider the clerk system the weed that's being grown in the ground. This is the cream of the crop right here. Nobody can hit this at scale. The second place, okay? We're going to add the second place here, is called Open Records Request, or ORR. So Open Records Request is a place where it's either like an email or a phone number or sometimes a physical location. If you type in the name of your county, I don't know what county you guys live in, but just type in the name of the county if you want me to prove the concept, and type in Open Records Request into Google. It should be the first place that pops up. In this place, you can get water shutoff because it's public record. You can get water records. You can get fire damage. You can get utility shutoff, so no light either. And you can get flood damage. And then the last one is code violation. All of these are very self-explanatory. These are properties that aren't having water on, have either been damaged by fire and reported. The utilities aren't working, so the electricity's off. They've been damaged by a flood or some form of water, destroyed the property, and then there's a code violation. So code violation means that someone's not keeping up with the property code. Overgrown grass, holes in the roof, hazard to society just by the property living there. Some of us might be able to go to a property and we might be able to see something like that, right? Where essentially a house just looks dilapidated. Most of those have multiple code violations on them. You have to request this data directly from the county. That's how that works, okay? Once you request it, they'll email it to you in a spreadsheet, and now you have pure records that are also reasons that someone wants to sell. Now, the third one here, this is one of my favorites. There's really 4, but for the sake of this video, I'm going to show you 3, and I'll expand upon it in another video. But this 4th one is the key one. It's one of my favorites. And we're calling this place the TO, which is short for tax office. Now, your tax office is where anybody pays property taxes, okay? And so if you're here right now and you own a piece of real estate, 9 times out of 10, you have to pay taxes, no matter what. And guess what happens if you don't pay your property taxes? They take your property away. That's just the way it works, right? Now, why is the tax office important here? Because the tax office will give you the tax roll for the last year based on properties that are current and properties that are behind on property taxes. And typically, guys, this is where you can get houses that are currently tax delinquent. And you can also get a few valuable things as well, like senior exemption. If they have an exemption on their taxes for disability, they get a tax break for their property taxes. If they're a veteran, they get a VA tax break as well. If they are senior, you'll be able to know because it's labeled on their tax roll, right? And so, guys, these three places are all part of what it is to run the deals through a county system, right? All three of these places, you have your county clerk, you have your open records requests, and then you have your tax office. These three things are organic sources for data. If I was going to buy weed for really, really cheap, this is where I would get it in real estate terms. Okay. Now, what is the real estate cheat code? What exactly is that? Guys, this is it. You pull all of these records here, all of these records here, all of these records here. And typically, guys, what I do is I'll go back 2 years or more. All of this does require a system, and I'm going to kind of go over it vaguely, but we're going to go into detail as the weeks fall off of the calendar. But this right here, essentially what we're doing is we're taking all of these records from the clerk, from the open records requests, from the tax office, and that, my friends, when you stack all of these records together, you're going to take 100,000 leads tops, and you're going to literally cut them in half, and it's going to be about 1,200 leads that nobody's touching that are all on the same list. That's the cream of the crop. These leads right here, this is the cheat code. You're going to be talking to people that no one else is talking to. You're going to be able to get a hold of leads where people are really going through a distress situation. These are records that you can't buy on the internet. This is something that you have to manually do or automate the process. And so now what is the second part of all of this? What is this called? This is called lead stacking. And so a lot of us have been stacking leads together inside of portals, whether you're using PropStream, Batch, you can stack a whole bunch of motivation indicators together. This is organic lead stacking. And so the goal here is to combine all of these records. Step one in all of this is lead generation. And so you're going to be spending the next week figuring out where you can pull all of this data. And I want you guys to categorize it so that you can find where you can source this. And if it's an online portal, that's even better. Sometimes you have to literally get them from the county. But this right here is what the attorney taught me how to do using spreadsheets. I would pull all of this data from each of these different spots, stack all those leads together, and it would create one address that had multiple situations on it. If I had a property that was going through probate, that was code violation, owned by here, 2 years tax delinquent, what I have is a lead that is so insane. Just these three indicators. The individual who is living in 123 Main Street died. They're not keeping up with their property because it has multiple code violations on it, and they're behind 2 years in taxes. If you get that, dude, that's like 20 cents, 10 cents on the dollar. Now, some of these real estate deals are going to have so many situations where essentially they're so far gone that it's going to require you to utilize curative title work, which is another thing that I learned from the attorney, another thing that you guys are going to be learning inside of this group. For y'all that don't know what a curative title work is, it is essentially where you go in and you fix bad title issues. And those are things that I'm going to be learning, that you're going to be learning being a part of this. I'm going to show you guys how to remove liens, how to remove judgments. I'm going to show you guys how to fight against list pendants. I'm going to show y'all how to utilize probate deals and how you can wrap around them and buy heirs out of deeds so that you can cure title. This advanced level stuff that's going to be coming to this community. But I wanted to do this video to show you guys the concept of what it is that we're going to be teaching here. This is the cheat code. I've been utilizing the same strategy for years and it's never failed me. Even when I switched strategies and I was doing what every other YouTube influencer was talking about doing on the internet, this never left me. I still did this my own, and I would just give my team and everybody that worked in my office all the other stuff. You know, because this one right here, one deal from this, guys, one deal from this is going to average you anywhere between 50K to 100K in profit. Just one. Just one. You don't have to close 5 deals to make 5, 5, 5, 5, and then 3 of them fall through, and now you're stuck spending more money on marketing. This is a for sure way to close real estate deals every single month. Now, this process can be automated, right? And so the next piece of all of this that I'm going to be showing you guys on next week's call on Tuesday is how to set up the automations. My goal for all of you that are watching this right now, I want you to take this as homework. These are your tasks that you need to do. Number one, find your online county clerk system. Once you find it, I want you to bookmark it on your computer. Step number two, type into Google open records requests and the name of your county. Whatever website that you can see, you might have to do some research. You might have to go from website to website. Sometimes it's not the first, it's not the second, it's not the third. But keep digging, because it's there. And this website, I want you to bookmark it as well inside of the same folder. Call it the cheat code. The folder should be called cheat code. The third piece, every single place has a tax assessor collector, okay? There is somewhere in your area, you can just type this in, name of your county, tax office, or tax assessor collector. And when you find that website, I want you to bookmark it. All of these websites are very, 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 very crucial in your success with what it is that I'm going to show you guys today. Now, guys, like I said, there's been so many instances where I just did deals in different types of ways and different types of places where I really wanted to figure out a way to do this. So I'm going to turn my computer around real quick. This process that I'm telling you guys about, right? This automation, this will be the next thing that we go over on Tuesday's call. But does everybody understand this concept? Can I get a yes or yes? Everybody get it? Yes, yes.
Yep.
Drop a yes in the comments. You can unmute yourself, say
Yep.
hell yeah, whatever it is.
Oh yeah.
So this is my PC. Why I'm not using this right now to be on the call, that's one thing. I don't need you guys to see everything. I just need y'all to see this thing. Do y'all see this little thing that I'm clicking on right here? This is called a web scraper that a friend of mine who's a developer created for me. All I have to do is click this thing one time. Now I want to show you guys what the output looks like. I'm not doing any of this. My hands are literally right here. I'm not doing any of this. So I created this robot automation to do exactly what the attorney taught me how to do, to go to my county. From my county, I ended up getting all the names for the document types. We went a month back, so we're going from 11/26 to 10/26, all the document types that I want. And now it's going to farm all of this information by cross-referencing property data here into our appraisal district so I can complete the record and get the first name, last name, property address, property city, property state, property zip code. And now what it's doing is it's collecting data. And when it's done, it's going to put it in a spreadsheet for me. And this thing only takes about 30 minutes and it's done. And it pulls about maybe 1,200 records for me every single day. It goes back, I have it programmed to go back 30 days for me. Now, that's next level. That right there is the next level, okay? Now, I know that might sound a little crazy for you guys, but all you need is just a regular schmegular computer. You need to turn off all the virus settings and whatnot. And then you also need to turn off any power saving settings as well. And you cannot use it for anything else other than this. And so I have a few different PCs that I run the same program on, just for the sake of being transparent with you guys. This is one bot that I have. There's a few more that I've developed for different scenarios of the business. I have one that pulls judgments only because I love to remove judgments from properties. Sometimes people, they don't realize that those judgments can be removed. And if a lien matures, there's a maturity date where you can just get rid of it completely. A lot of it involves an attorney. But guys, you know what's real cool about it is you don't even need to have money for an attorney. When you bring a deal that's 10 cents on the dollar, if you put a property under contract and it's worth $100,000 and you got the contract for 10 grand, I'm sorry, but any attorney is going to work for you for free if you just put their fee on top and break them off. And so I use a legal team to cure title on all of this stuff. I'm working on building a legal team that I can introduce to you guys so that we can joint venture on deals and close some of those dead deals that you might have in your database now, or that you may find in just your marketing efforts of trying to complete the strategy that I talked about in the back. So guys, I'm going to open this up and stop the recording. This is the cheat code concept. And Tuesday next week, we're going to be going over the bot creation and how to make these robots, where to find the developers, and how you can get something like this created. I paid $100 for what I just showed y'all, this thing right here. And so I'm going to show you guys some really cool stuff, all right? But that's the end for this recording. I'm going to stop it, and then we're going to open it up for Q&A. Really hope you guys got value from this. This will be in the recording section. And as always, there's resources and whatnot in the comments.